everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. How are you all doing? It's good to have you back, and if today is your first time of checking out this channel, you're welcome and in the right place. Please make sure you subscribe for subsequent videos. So today's class will be on how to make a circular dress with a sleeve that will be a Bilikis with an organza fabric. You can make use of any type of fabric at all. It could be lace, chantilly lace, depending on your preference. So, but today I will be making use of an organza fabric, and trust me, it is very easy to make. So let's quickly talk about the material to be used. You can also use any type of material for this, but I have African print fabric, which are two types, this and this. So for instance, if I want to make use of this, I could either make use of these two colors because it will blend well. If I want something that is still cool, I could go for something like this, and you can see how beautiful it came out. Then if I don't want, and I want something a little bit loud, I could make use of this very color and it still comes out nice. So I'm not sure which one to use yet. Then if I will go for this very one, which is also beautiful, I have two choices or three. If I want something cool, I could go for this very color on it. And you can see how beautiful and cool it looks. And in case I want something loud, then I'll be going for this beautiful one. I think I'll go for this. So can you see how it looks on it? So beautiful. So this is it. So I think I'll go for this option. So having done that now, we can all drop directly on the fabric, but I just at times want something easier for you guys, especially for a beginner. If you're a beginner, you can actually make this. So if you have your basic bodies and basic sleeve ready, you just need to skip this drafting part and just wait till we cut it on the fabric. But for people that are new, or this is your first time coming to my channel, you're welcome. I just want to start from the scratch, which is very fast and easy. So I'm just going to draft a basic body or just the armhole area. Yes, that's all we need. And if you have your basic sleeve, all well and good. If you don't have, you can draft directly on your fabric. So let's quickly draft the pattern. Let's quickly draft the upper part of the basic bodies, although I'll put a link on how to draft the basic bodies in the description box below. So now all you need is your bust circumference, the length of the dress, and half of your armhole measurement. How do you determine that? All you need to do is your bust circumference divided by 6, and whatever you get, you add 1.5 to that. So like for me, I have about 8.83, so I just round it up to 9 inches. So looking at the paper, I have 9 inches for my armhole cuff. So this is the starting line. So 9 inches for my armhole, and just had just extra 1 inch for that, just because we don't want to cut directly on the armhole area. And after doing that, the next thing is to insert the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. So 3 inches and 8 inches. This is done to determine the slope of the shoulder, and at this point you come down by 1 inch. Haven't done that, then I will insert half of my shoulder measurement. You measure your shoulder from one edge to the other, and whatever you have divided by 2. So mine is 8.5. It's actually 17 divided by 2. That gives me 8.5. Then you connect it. Having done that, the next thing I will do is to insert my bust circumference. My bust circumference is 44 inches, and when I divide that by 4, I'm going to have 11 inches. So I could add ease if I want. So let's say I had just 1/4 of an inch to make it 11.5. And you don't forget your 1 inch size seam allowance. So you add that to it, and that's all we have. So we are as good as ready. So the next thing we are going to do is to determine the front armhole and the back armhole. For the front, get the midpoint, come in by 3/4 of an inch, and then use your armhole curve. Then for the back, just place it this way. That's this. We have both the front and the back. So the neckline you want depend on your preference. Like the one on the thumbnail is like closed neck with jabots on it, but for me, I don't like anything closed neck. I like my neck area being free. So you can use any type of neckline at all. So please, when you're making yours, I want to see variations of neckline. You can always, you know, improvise or do necessary different styles. So all I'm going to do now is this. I could just have the wideness for mine to be, let's say 4 inches or 3.5, and then the depth could be 4.5. So the neckline totally depends on your preference, and then for the back, I'll just come down by 1 inch. And we are done with our pattern. So the next thing I'm just going to add is the 1/2 inch shoulder seam allowance. That's important. So looking at the pattern, we have added all our seam allowance to it. So when you are cutting, you only cut the back, because this pattern will be used to cut out both the front and the back pattern. So good, this is what I have. So right now, let us get to work of folding our fabric and cutting it out. Now let us quickly talk about the amount of fabric required for this circular dress. So it depends on how short you want your dress to be. So like for me, I want the length of my dress to be 40 inches, which is quite okay. And then how much fabric depend on if you're a plus size or medium size or a small size. Like for a small size, you can make use of just 2 yards. Here I'm having about 2.5 yards now for me, because it's shorter. For instance, if I want like the length of 42 inches, I'll be making use of 3 yards of fabric just for the dress, not the sleeve now. So here I have 1.25 fabric for the front, 1.25 for the back. That is 1.25 yard. A yard is 36 plus quarter, that is 45. So that means I'll be having 45 times 2. So here now, looking at the fabric, African print fabric comes by 45. So from here that I'm holding to the other end is 45. But because I'm using 1.25, also here on fold I have 45. So can you see? So I have 45 times 2. I think that is 90 inches of fabric in length by 44. So this is it. Just check if it will be enough. So just take your fabric and fold diagonally. And you see? So if you want less flare, just do something like this. But the more you want, the more you bring it upward. But don't let it pass through to the other side. Let me see what I have. So now let us check if it will be enough. So you make sure you make use of this lower part of the flare, because we have more fabric here. So make sure if you are using 40, the 40 ends very close to this flare. That is very important. So what I will do now is to place the paper here, the pattern, place something on it, and then let us check. So with seam allowance, I want it to be 40, which is very fine. So just place it here. So here my armhole, half of my armhole is 9, so that could be a guide for you. So even if you have your basic bodice to be long, it doesn't disturb anything because the center has to match this center of the fabric we have folded. So let me check. So 40, that means I still have to move this upward because I want to make use of this flare at the lower part. So that's why I'm taking my time. Okay, I have 40 here, so this is where 40 stops, which is nice. Okay, let me move forward again and check. Okay, 40 is here, so that means when you get to the tip here, you just rotate it. 40 is, can you see where I have? So my 40 is out of the flare here, so that means I need to still move this pattern upward. So that is it. You need to check this before cutting it out at all. Can you see? It's in place now. We can just start marking it up. So I use my sewing tool. So in case you're interested in these sewing tools, we have them available. So I'm using my armhole line as a guide, which is 9 inches. So 40 inches is here. So you just keep marking. So you move forward a bit. 40 inches is here. So when you get to the edge here of the neckline, you now start rotating it. Just keep rotating. So you take your time. That's what we have. So the next thing is to use my 1 meter ruler to now connect from the edge here. This is the armhole line. So from this edge to the end. Good. You see that? So what I'm now going to do, you could trace it out or just cut it together. After cutting it all out, so the next thing is to cut out the front. I'm going to remove one and then fold this back. Now I'm not going to place it back. Can you see this? The next thing will be to cut this off and then cut this off. The neckline and the armhole cuff. So this is for the front, while this very one is for the back. So you can see the difference front and back, and you can see how beautiful that is. The next thing I will do now is to cut out the facing. So you can see now the back, you can see how much flare I have. So to cut out the facing, I'm just going to place another fabric here underneath. Make sure the center line of the fold matches each other. That's very essential. Let me see the way I'm cutting the neckline. So the next thing is to measure 3 inches downward all around. That's because I'll be using an overlocking machine to finish it up. But in case you are making use of just folding the edge, if you just want to fold the edge and you don't have overlocking machine, so in that case you can make use of 3.5. So the facing for the front is ready. So I'm going to cut the back and show you, because I'm going to have a slit at the back. So can you see the facing? So let me cut the back and show you. So this is the back. So before I measure, there's going to be a slit at the back, and that slit is going to be about 5 inches. So this is 5 inches. I'll also mark that on the facing. Remove this. So I already have the curve. So since the slit is going to be on this 5 inches, so I'm going to measure 3 inches from that 5 inches to make it 8. Then come to the shoulder area, 3 inches, just a little, 3. And then just eyeball it, use your discretion. So this is the facing for the back. So I'm now going to slit this point and stop at that 5 inches part. So this is what I have. So this is the facing. Then I'll go to the back and then slit it to the 5 inches point. Good. So this is what the back also looks like. So right now let's cut the sleeve so that we can sew it up. Sleeve. And we are also going to cut the sleeve in a flared form, in a circular form. So all you need to do, you need about 1 yard for that. You might not finish it up. So all you just have to do is to fold 1 yard of fabric into 2, and then also fold it diagonally. Can you see? So just fold that way. Place your sleeve on it. Then another thing is the length. I want the length to be somewhere around 17 inches. But what I'm going to do is to just make it the length of my full sleeve, so that by the time I pull it up, I will have some volume around. So it depends, or you can just add extra 4 to 5 inches to the actual length you want, so that you have some fold. So here now I want it to be about 23, 24. So we need to check if it will be enough, because we want to make use of this flared part. So 24 is around here. So move forward a bit again, 24. Okay, I think I can still pull it down a bit. by the time we cut out this sleeve, we will use it as a pattern for the organza fabric. So this is 24. So move it forward, 24. So from there, just rotate it. 24. 24. This is what I have. So the next thing is to trim off the front armhole. In case you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve, you can check out my video on that. So all I have to do now is to open this up. Don't forget to notch the edge of the sleeve. You can see our sleeve is at that point. So can you see how I place it? This is the edge I notched, so you put it at that point, and then the head of the sleeve. So the next thing is for me to trim this off. So that will be the front armhole. Then I will just cut this exactly using the organza fabric too. I haven't cut out the sleeve. I now have to use it to cut out the organza. So looking at it, can you see? So what I just did while cutting out the organza is to just add 3/4 inch all around so that it will have more room to be away from the main fabric. So what I'm going to do now is to go over to the overlocking machine and then overlock all my fabric before I start sewing them up. So by the time you want to overlock this, or you can just sew it first. So this is what you have, so you can sew it first. So you will now make sure, find this is more than this, but you make sure it is now the same size. Can you see that? So by the time you're sewing it or overlocking it, you make sure it is now the same. Can you see? So that will make it have room. So it won't just be so flat. You still have it moving around the main fabrics. In most cases, you might see some outfit, because especially for people that are busty, you see the front lifted up while the back is falling. That's especially for busty people. If you are busty, you need this part, but if you are not, you could just overlook it. So in this case, you will just come up by 1 inch at the back. It is very easy. 1 inch all around. That is for the back. This is my back panel, but I can eyeball it. If you can't, just make sure you measure with your measuring tape. Looking at it, you can see I'm doing exactly 1 inch just from the back, but make sure it ends at this point, because this part must match with the front. That is very essential. And you see what I did without touching that part. So this is off. So by the time we sew it up, you will see that the trick helps. So let me just overlock all my fabrics. Now I've overlocked all the sleeve and the main dress. You can see I've overlocked it all. So looking at it, you can see the organza is a bit away from the fabric. So that is it on the sleeve. So now on the main dress, I've also overlocked it. So you can see everywhere. So what I now did was to now join the armhole, the shoulder. So 1/2 inch that we left for the seam allowance is being added. This is the facing too. I've overlocked the facing, so this is what I have. Can you see? And then also join the facing by the 1/2 inch. So the next thing we are going to do now is to place this facing this way. So the back has to match the back, the front, Can you see that? So everything is matching perfectly. So always pin down your fabric. Good. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take it back to the sewing machine and then start. I can start from the back here. I'm just going to sew in half an inch here, or just 1/4 of an inch is fine. So 1/4 of an inch, go this way, make a V backward, 1/4 or half, then come back to finish it up. So that's how I'm going to fix the facing and then bring it out on the other side, and then the sleeve. Fix the facing, as you can see, all around, then I notched it with my scissors. Another thing I did was to just form a little strip. So just get a little fabric, just fold it in. So once you fold it in, you fold into 2, and that was what I placed here. Use the excess. Can you see what I have? So that means I'm just going to have a button at the other side, so you can bring it all out. So once you've notched it, it will be very easy for you to bring it out. I can't give it a good press, just please where it should be. You see how neatly we have added the facing. That's how easy it is. So the next thing is just for you to secure the facing underneath. Just secure it here, just 1 2 3 1 2 3, so it won't move around. The next thing now is for me to fix the sleeve. You make sure this is the front armhole, so that means we should be having something like this. So this is the front, we'll be having something like this. So that means right side facing each other. So I'm going to fix the sleeve. After fixing the sleeve, then I can just sew it by the sides. So from the sleeve straight down. Then you can now fix the elastic to the sleeve. And this is just so beautiful. You can see the facing, everything looking so nice. Look at the sleeve, and trust me, you need to make an outfit with this sleeve like this, because when I put this on now, I love this sleeve so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the elastic, but later I'm going to remove it because I'm in love with this sleeve. Trust me, it looks so beautiful. So you can see that. Let me just show you the dress. That's the sleeve. Then just look at how beautiful is this. Can you see that massive flare? That is what it looks like. And at the back, this is what it looks like. Can you see? I'm just going to put a button here for the loop, and I'm fine. So this is just so beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to just get an elastic band and place it around wherever you want it to stop. So whatever you have, you cut it out. So there are 2 ways you can fix this. Is either you just fold it in first. Since I've overlocked the lower part, I'm just going to fold in like 3/4, because this is like 1/2 inch. 3/4 all around, and then passing through the elastic, or just close up these 2 ends, close it up with your zigzag machine. After doing that, just put it in between and keep sewing it all around. So those are the 2 ways. So let me just fix the elastic and then put it on for you guys to see this. So guys, this is the dress we've just made, and you can see how beautiful it looks. I just like it. Even with the elastic, it looks good. Even without the elastic, it looks good. Can you see that? So you can add pockets if you want. So keeping it long, this is what it looks like. So you can just style it however you want. You see that? So let me show you to the back. Can you see the back too? Can you see that? So beautiful. So just give it a try. Different neckline, however you want it is fine, and this is just beautiful. So right now I have to go. Bye guys.